Today, I'm here to tell you...
Why are you
Who says I'm
I'm not just clickbaiting. I am here to expose the real reasons why I dress the way I do, why you dress the way you do. I'm here to reveal the Homo sapien underpinnings to the entire thing, blow this entire endeavor wide open. Let me give you a provocative thesis here, okay? But one I truly believe. You might think you are the straightest man there is, but you do not dress the way you do to impress the opposite sex. You dress the way you do to impress other men, straight up. Now, I can feel you pulling away from me right now.
Everyone's gay but me.
Stick with me. Listen, I'll start by talking about myself. I've had a lot of time to process this information, so I've come to terms with it in myself. I'll even remove it from the fashion sphere that we all exist in. So, before I got into designer fashion, I was a punk kid, and I dressed to fit in with the hardcore punk crowd. I collected band t-shirts back then in the same way I collect enfant riche déprimé clothing now. Really thinking about it now, was I dressing in a way to attract mates? No, not really. I wanted guys at shows to say, dude, nice quicksand shirt. If a pretty lady said nice quicksand shirt, I would have been elated, definitely, but I wasn't wearing that shirt with that outcome in mind. I was dressing to fit into that subculture and to gain social capital from my mostly male peers in that subculture. So, am I... No, not literally. I'll own up to that now, but am I dressing in a way so as to maximally attract female attention and desire? No, not at all. Listen, I'm even married. One of the rings here is for that, and it's to a woman. I mean it, yeah. I don't even dress to impress her.
And I used to defend you.
Just like the hardcore shirts all those years ago, when she says, you look handsome in that outfit, I get all fluttery, right? But that ain't the reason I'm putting that on, you know what I mean? It's more like some icing on the cake, but I was buying the cake whether it was iced or not, you feel me? I recently talked to Derek Guy, aka the menswear guy, aka Dye Workwear, aka the most viral voice in modern men's fashion, and here's what he had to say.
I've always believed that we dress in a way to identify ourselves with certain groups, but also express ourselves as individuals within that group. I don't think that guys are dressing to get women. I think many menswear hobbyists dress to get respect from their peers.
So he's connecting it to subcultures, right? Maybe even that is too esoteric for you. Think of it as hobbies, any hobby. Surfer dudes in Hawaii aren't dressing in board shorts and Stussy long sleeves because it is the scientifically optimized, most proven formula for mating success, right? No, they're dressing that way because it's how all their friends dress and how all the cool guys at the beach who are better at surfing than them dress. And they don't want to get side-eyed by the entire crew down there, so they dress to fit the hell in. And I don't think this is specifically a male phenomenon either. I'll use my wife again. She is not dressing to get dudes horn dogging. She better not. If you even look at my wife with a single iota of horn dogging, I will suplex you into the ground. Listen, I think she looks hot as all get out, all right? But she's dressing sometimes for comfort, sometimes to fit into a professional situation, sometimes to fit into our music scene or to appear cool to her own subculture of book or film or gaming nerds. Pure attractiveness to others is so far down that scale, you know? So maybe if your single hobby and your entire social group revolves around attending like speed dating events, sure, you got me. Then maybe you are dressing purely for straight sexual attractiveness reasons. So yeah, you got me there, you sneaky little speed dating hobbyist you. So I really do like how Derek put it in that clip we listened to, but he actually went a step further on Twitter and really got to the heart of the entire thing. He said, lots of guys who are into clothes as a hobby do all sorts of crazy things. Wear weird clothes from rare Japanese brands. Wear jeans for 6 months without washing. Go to great lengths to get a detail right. No one is doing this so they can have sex. They do it to impress peers. He even gives some great examples like a capital coat and wearing in selvage denim. He asks to the reader, you guys think we're doing this stuff to impress women? And maybe boiling it down to the most pure point of all, in a different tweet, he wrote, I don't dress for women. I dress for a small number of men online that I don't know and refuse to ever meet. And that's really the heart of this thing. I dress the way I do so you guys think that I'm cool and watch my videos, so that a dude on the street or a sales associate at a boutique daps me up like, yo, that ERD is fire, dude. I dress the way I do so people think I look interesting and unique when my bands play shows. None of those have anything to do with attractiveness, right? In fact, they have a lot more to do with impressing men. The vast majority of you watching this right now are dudes. I dress like this for you, right? The majority of the crowd at any given show that I play are dudes. I dress like this for them. It is male-on-male peacocking, and that is why
You are gay.
I was recently watching a video by Callahan. It was called Discussing Menswear as a Woman, and she made some great points. Let me just show you a little bit here.
One thing I noticed in male fashion, particularly the fashion space, not just looking at men's clothing in general, but fashion bro environment, there is very little variation in what is considered fashionable. What is considered fashionable by the fashion bro is a baggy jean, cropped top, a loafer, and a zebra crossing. I was really struggling to find anything that wasn't baggy jean, loafer, crop top. Heaven knows why, because it's awful. I really don't like it.
Yes, this right here in a nutshell is what I'm saying. If you went up to any modern menswear enthusiast and asked them, what should I wear to be maximally sexy? How do I sex max in my menswear? I guarantee you that at least 60 to 70% of those guys would tell you to wear roughly that fit, that silhouette. But why? Because it's popular, because it's what men who care about clothes wear right now, so that is the correctly sexy outfit. But it's not like they did a double-blind, decades-long controlled study of what men's fashion most arouses the female groin, right? And I can give you a concrete example of this, okay? If you ask someone the same question in 2015, they would probably tell you to wear the exact opposite proportions. Big shirt, little pants, because that's what was cool. That was the Yeezy style. That was the off-white style, you know? That was cool. Go back another decade to the mid-2000s, they'd probably tell you to wear all skinny everything because that was the rock revival era, the scene emo era, the Eddie Slamma, Dior, Saint Laurent dominance era, you know? These suggestions would not actually be about being attractive to women. They would be about what the subculture of men's fashion finds most cool. We are just creating a connection between these things where functionally none exists. It reminds me of like a random Instagram reel that the algo fed me, that slop, you know, a few days ago. It was like trying to scientifically find the hottest guy by doing like a who's hotter than who tier list tournament type thing with the band Haim. They decided that the hottest guys were like Josh O'Connor and Harris Dickinson. I'm sure they're good looking, right? But they're also really popular. In another era, it would have been Ryan Gosling or Brad Pitt or whoever the hell, right? We all confuse popularity with attractiveness all the time. Like, have you ever looked way back at like old singers and guitarists and bands and actors and stuff and their spouses? The spouses were always so much hotter, and it's because we don't attach the same level of popular attractiveness correlation to those people because they're no longer popular in modern culture. So I'm sorry to tell you, you are not dressing attractively. You're dressing popularly. Very different. And if you're into the types of fashion that I am, you're dressing popularly as determined by a bunch of dudes. Now, I can tell you're getting a bit uncomfortable here, okay? You were not ready for this level of self-reflection, especially in this way, so let me bring it back to me. I will be your guinea pig of this self-understanding, okay? The more I think about it, the more I realize I do this all the time. For example, this t-shirt right here is by the designer Bossy. And if I had to guess, subconsciously, I bought this so that someday I could get clocked by a sales associate at Patron of the New, because I'm pretty sure it's people in Miami are the only people who could recognize a Bossy piece of clothing in this world. I can't remember why or how exactly I got into the brand Enfant Riche de Prime, but it certainly wasn't to look good to women. In fact, if anything, much of ERD's work is actively off-putting to women. For instance, I wore the Red Whisper t-shirt to a Cursive concert once, and I went to buy a piece of merch from Cursive. I love Cursive, and they had a woman working their merch booth, and she looked at me, and I could tell she was like disgusted by me in some way. Honestly, you'd be surprised. It doesn't happen that often. So I was like, what just happened? And I looked down, I was like, oh my God, I'm wearing just like a weird naked bound woman on my t-shirt, like actively off-putting to the female sex, okay? Do you still not believe me? I can keep going, okay? I can keep going with even stuff I bought in the past few weeks. I got this old fuzzy number 9 cardigan recently. Why? Not because I saw it and was like, that's gonna make me look so hot. It was because my good friend Christian from the Brave New Wear channel, he found this at the shop he works at, and he texted me like, hey, I saw this, I thought you might like it. And I said, yes, I would like it, because I thought that doing so would impress him, please him, make him like me more in some way. I do like the cardigan, but I also did it to service this relationship I have with another man. Okay, so I got that piece to impress a guy. The real question is, was it a good purchase regardless, right? So the first things that stood out to me about this, first of all, of course, it's the fuzziness. That thing is so fuzzy in a good way. And the other was the colorway, because I'm used to seeing this one in the gray-black color. Brown-black is not one that I've really seen before, if at all. Now, is it anything that special? No, I mean, if you were to translate this, you would see it is made of nylon and acrylic, so not a super crazy fabrication or anything. No mohair here, you know what I mean? Their stuff was always about the style to me. I was never that impressed by the materials or craftsmanship, you know? Now, the fit on this one is actually really good. I really like it. It actually goes like surprisingly well with the rhinestone cowboy bossy shirt in gold. It's like they've got like gold flecks, gold brown on camera especially. It works well, but I actually ended up really liking this. I kind of got it as a bit of an afterthought. I was like, you know, I'll try it. If I don't like it, I'll just sell it, whatever. Thankfully, Christian got it for me very cheap, but I really like it. I actually, because I have this now, I might sell my red and black striped undercover cardigan, because this one is like pure Kurt Cobain, right? Undercover, very cool brand, but I never really liked the fit of that one. It was very round in a kind of off-putting way. So it's good as a casual cardigan, just going out, staying warm, but as a fashion piece, the fit wasn't quite right. Whereas this is actually, you know, it's oversized, it's dropped, it's a bit rounded how you'd want it to, but it just fits me so much better and very comfortable too. I truly cannot fathom how you still don't believe me, but I can keep going, okay? The designer Jean-Paul Gaultier is somebody I hadn't thought about too deeply in the past, but then I made friends with another guy in the fashion scene, and he said, listen, the greatest designer who has ever lived, you know, in the past generation was JPG. So in order to look into that and deepen that relationship with this online male fashion nerd that I've never met in real life before, I picked up 2 JPG pieces. This one is a vintage Jean-Paul Gaultier Homme shirt, and this one is a pair of JPG's jeans Paul Gaultier, like studded flared jeans, okay? And you can tell right off the bat that this one is a beautiful piece. First of all, the cut and the style, so it's like kind of like a tuxedo or bowling shirt type of style where you've got these discrete panels. Obviously, it's a beautiful brown, thick corduroy. So it's a very well put together piece. And that should be expected of mainline JPG Homme. This piece, yeah, I believe from the 90s, so this one probably older than a lot of you watching here. And it turns out that that random online fashion friend was absolutely right, at least when it comes to this shirt. This turned out to be absolute fire. I wasn't expecting much. It was my first JPG piece, especially mainline, but I was pleasantly surprised. The corduroy is so good. The cut is really nice and kind of trim with broad shoulders, which is my natural build, so it's kind of cut for my build. It's definitely very, very 90s, okay? Because the black parts are like a stretch synthetic synthetic, definitely synthetic like poly type of thing, which if it were made today, this would be like a stretch cotton silk, something much more organic. But this was the 90s. They loved their plastics, okay? And the other weird and annoying part about this is that because this is synthetic, when I'm wearing like a jacket on it, for some reason, no matter what it is, it like catches this and this starts slowly riding up until like you can start seeing skin, and it's really weird and I have to keep pulling it down. So it has its flaws for sure, but just as a shirt, wearing it right here, it is damn good. And this right here is just a super clean pair of flared black denim jeans here. And these are by Jeans Paul Gaultier, which is a diffusion line. And if you're not aware, diffusion lines are like these secondary brands that start within brands, and usually they're a slightly like lower level, cheaper version of the main brand. So the last one we looked at was JPG Ohm. This is Jeans Paul Gaultier, so it was probably a little cheaper and lower down on the totem pole, you know? But you still get a lot of really nice stuff. Like you get a branded button here. It's still vintage, so it's still better than 90% of what gets made today. Some really cool, like interesting, I don't know, wrinkled whiskering, and I believe that's intentional there. And probably the highlight of this pair is the studding at the back pocket, and it's really more rhinestones, I guess, JSPG on the back pocket there. Leather patch too. They don't make diffusion lines like they used to, you feel me? And these were made in Tunisia, which again is a good indication of the kind of level of luxury you're looking at here, because the nicest stuff, you know, is made in Italy, France, maybe even America, whatever. Whereas the middle layer is like Turkey, Tunisia, Romania, weird stuff like that. And the lowest level, you know, is Vietnam, China. Now the pants are a totally different story here, okay? You can't see this at all. Do I have something to like stand on here? Hold on. All right, I found a chair to stand on, as you can see. You can see that the tags are still with these, and that is because I am, no question in my mind, selling these. And that is so unfortunate because the cut is so good. It is like a skinny leg up until just like, you know, 6 inches below the knee, at which point it starts flaring perfectly. There's a perfect amount of stretch to them. They're so good. But here's the problem. They are absolutely women's jeans. First of all, here is the rise. That's the rise right there. That's all you get is that. The zipper is like 2 inches. My dangle is not getting through there in any way, shape, or form, okay? But look at it from the side. Damn, look at that flare. How good is that, man? It is actually like a pair of like vintage punk-style Japanese jeans, but they're just women's, and it makes me so sad because they're actually really good. Are you now finally starting to be convinced? I hope so. I've provided so much information, so much proof, but I will give you one more. I got a comment on this YouTube channel once from a guy asking me to look into the brand Paris Laundry. I had never even heard of this brand. I didn't know anything about them, but in order to please this one random anonymous person in my comments, I went off and bought a striped silk and mohair distressed cardigan by this brand Paris Laundry. Now this is a really interesting piece, and it's interesting because it's actually hard to tell anything about it. You get a giant brand tag at the back of the neck. This one I do have tags with it, but that's it. There's no size tag, there's no care tags, nothing like that. So all I get is just the look and the style, but it is very cool. It feels so good. It feels very high end. We'll see what it's made out of. But also all of this crazy distressing, this like overlock knitting. Is it called an overlock when it's knit? But that's at various places kind of like a Franken sweater stitched together all over the place. There's like these asymmetrical patches where the stripes are kind of shifted upwards a bit. It is a very, very cool and unique piece of knitwear here. And this one has like the weirdest dichotomy going on because this is the nicest material I have ever felt in something, in a fit that is just so odd. And they must be a new brand because there are like no tags on this thing to tell me anything about it. I had to find it online. So it turns out this is made out of a silk mohair yarn in Japan. So that is some of the best stuff for a knit. The details, you've got like a branded safety pin here. It says Paris Laundry on it. You can definitely see where some of those influences are coming from, but let me just let this fall, okay? The sleeve. Yeah, Okay, and if I drop it at the shoulders naturally, I'm talking through the sleeve right now. This is the natural fit of this thing. Again, I don't know what the tagged size is or if this is the intentional fit, but this is what I ended up with. It's a incredibly nice piece of clothing that is cut fairly oddly, and I don't know if that's intentional or not. So I think if you're not on board with my thesis by now, you never will be. This is a part of yourself that you are unwilling to explore because you are uncomfortable in your sexuality. You can't accept that you do anything for another man. But I'm telling you, it's true and it's okay. Throughout history, our entire race has done things in order to fit in with the cool crowd, in order to become part of the tribe, right? And when it comes to fashion, for me, what is it? It's to look cool to people like you. And it is to grow my audience, grow my influence, grow my channel. If the clothes are cool, if I appear cool to all of you, more of you will watch me. But it doesn't have to be about influence or clout either, right? Maybe you are a part of your local music scene, and this is how people dress there, and you're trying to fit in. It is normal to try to fit in. On an even more basic level, maybe you think that that latest pickup will just make your friends the next day at school think you're that much cooler and invite you to the next party, and that's okay as well. Subscribing to the codes of whatever subculture we're in is an integral part of said subculture, and that is uncomfortable for people in the punk scene like I am. Punks tend to think they are anti-fashion in some way, but that couldn't be further from the truth. If they were really honest with themselves, they would see that they all follow a set of rules, a set of codes that align them within that subculture. It is kind of definitionally part of a subculture that there are rules and things that people generally do in order to fit into them. Okay, hopefully now you have come to terms with your own sense of style. I can finally say it now. No, you are not. You do not need to have a crisis of sexual orientation or anything, because while you are dressing to impress other men, so is everybody else. The guys you see on the streets in the inner city with jeans underneath their buns and giant shiny puffer coats, they're doing it to impress other dudes in their culture. The guys you run into in a suit and overcoat rushing off to some hedge fund, doing it to impress the other dudes at their hedge fund or the homies they meet up with at the country club, right? It just so happens that we're aligned with the designer side of things, the runway side of things, the expensive side of things, however you want to say it. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. As you can tell, I'm pretty self-aware and comfortable in my own skin and my own thoughts. If I was bothered by anything I was doing, I would just stop doing it. So now I'll put it with you. Now you know why you do what you do. With that information, would you do anything differently? We're in the internet age, the ChatGPT age. If you want to know what women actually find attractive, you can do so. For instance, I found some studies saying that women under 35 like men in suits the most. That also goes in line with studies showing that women prefer older men. So maybe lay off the skincare and the hair care routine. Let those crow's feet and gray hairs grow in, baby. As for me, I'm straight in multiple ways. I have a style. It aligns with my interests in punk rock, in luxury fashion, in good craftsmanship and interesting materials. Am I overly worried about who I'm attracting or who I'm putting off in doing so? No. But also subconsciously, yes. And that's what we've been talking about this whole time, right? And that's A-okay with me, and it should be with you too. Peace.